That's right. Just check it. Not moving, na?
No, sir.
Oh, just okay. I'm again the stop sharing and stop sharing. Wait. Now it's moving.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but it is not the full screen, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
let's continue. Okay. Okay. So today actually my topic is the generative AI. That is, I will be trying to cover to the generative artificial intelligence a complete walkthrough. That means, so what is the basic concept of the generative AI, and also some application, and as well as the some security issues also. Let us first we will be discussed before going to the details of the generative AI. Let's recapitulate about the basic definition of the AI. As we know, the term AI in the broadest sense refer to the simulation of the human intelligent processes by computer system. What is the basic meaning of that? As we know that its AI means that making our computer intelligence. Making our computer intelligence. That is the very basic concept. That the concept is the AI. And we know that there are two type of concept is there within the AI. One is the machine learning and the another is the deep learning. Now the machine learning, what is the machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of AI that focuses on the designing the some specific system which can learn and make decision prediction based on the data. So let us come in a very what is easy concept. So our machine learning concept is that try to learn the past pattern, or you can say about our train data to predict the future pattern. That is the machine learning. Again, I am repeat. Try to learn the past pattern. Try to learn from the past pattern to predict the future pattern based on some data. Now, question is that machine learning we are using, right? But then machine learning cannot solve our some specific real life problem. So that's why we have to go to the deep learning concept. So what is the deep learning concept? Deep learning, as we know that it is a subset of machine learning, right? And subset of machine learning. But then what is the difference between machine learning and the deep learning? It is almost same, because this is also learned from the past pattern, is also try to predict the future pattern, but in a specific way by using the neural network concept and with the some multi-layer, using the help of the multi-layer. That is what with the deep learning. Now we have already using the AI, we are using the machine learning, we are using the deep learning. Now come to the generative AI. Just before going to generative AI, there are as we know that supervised learning and the unsupervised learning. Just recapitulate that part. Supervised learning is a type of machine learning model trained on the label data. As we know that label data. Now come to the data. Example of the emails either tag as a spam or the not spam. Suppose we try to check to our email is the tag as a spam or the not spam. Now training, how to give the training. So there is a now concept is coming, discriminative and the generative. Now see, generative AI, it's coming from this concept. There are two type of things there, discriminative and the generative. Now what is the concept of discriminative? Discriminative is that learn the boundary that separate the spam versus not spam. And generative concept learn the distribution of the spam and the not spam email to understand how each class generates content. Now, what is the interference? Interference, if we analyze the interference, discriminative means determine. Discriminative means determine on which side of the boundary a new email falls. And generative concept, what is the generative concept? Based on the learned distribution, compute the likelihood of the new email being the spam and versus the not spam. Now come to the unsupervised. What is the concept of the unsupervised learning? Unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning model that identifies the pattern and the structure within the unlabeled data, For example, that email topic modeling. Now the data, what type of data we are taking? A large collection of the email that we may want to organize by subject wise. We may organize by the subject. Now training, what kind of training we can give? Learn the distribution that generates. Training, learn the distribution. Learn the distribution that generates the structure within the data. Now interference, what will be the interference for this? That assign the new email to the cluster where they have a highest probability of belonging. Now another concept we know, reinforcement, as we know that where the machine are using some agent concept and is it taking some reward and the action with the help from the involved. So that reinforcement learning, that interaction, agent will be interact with the environment by choosing an action from its current policy. Let us example, self-driving car. As we know, the self-driving car decide to take a left turn or the right turn. How the machine can be decided when will we take a left or right turn? On the current strategy and the current state of the road. Now the reward and the penalty policy, after each action, agent receive will be one reward or penalty, depending on whether they have reflect the success of the action. Suppose, for example, if the car safely navigate the traffic or obey the rules, it will be a success, or otherwise it will be fail. So policy, what the policy update? Agent can update the policy based on the feedback received, aiming to maximize the total reward over time. Based on the reward or the penalty received, car adjusts its driving. Now, if we classify all the things, so then we will see it will become to a large classification. What are the classifications like artificial intelligence? As we know that machine learning also can divide it, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. So the supervised also can be this. Yeah, screen is not visible.
లేదు నా ఫోన్ లో అప్డేట్ అడుగుతుంది ఇక్కడ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో వింటుంది
The schematic model and the generative model. Okay, so
ల్యాప్టాప్ లోనే చూస్తున్నాను అయ్యా
now come to the generative AI. Okay, generative AI and its type. What is the concept of that generative AI? See, generative AI, this is actually, it's also using the method of DL, that is the deep learning. What the deep learning is using, the same concept is using by the generative AI. So then what is the difference between the generative AI and the deep learning? So as we know that if we make the set and subset, the AI is a bigger circle, then machine learning is coming, smaller circle within this AI. Then again, the deep learning is coming within the machine learning, right? Now, within the deep learning, it's coming to the generative AI. So, generative AI refers to a set of artificial intelligence methodology that can produce a novel content that reassemble the training data they are exposed to. So, that means that generative AI This is also a part of or a part or subset of the artificial intelligence methodology, which can produce or create or generate. We can be use this terminology generate. We can use this terminology generate the novel content that reassemble from the training data that they were exposed to. The content could be anything, like a spanning from the synthesizing text. It may be text, generating it may be code, realistic image, music, speech, many more. For example, that if we take the like our voice, maybe we are taking to the three types of voice: V1, V2, V3. And if we use some concept of the generative AI, then this using the model of the generative AI, generative speech model, so it can be create some the new speech which will be combined of these three. Okay. Now from this here, from this here, what we can be conclude. Let's go to this slide again. Repeat to the generative AI concept. Now from here, can anyone can tell to the what is the difference between the normal AI and the generative AI? Anyone can share? Anyone can share to the difference between the normal AI and the generative AI? Suppose in our system. So I think some are, please mute yourself, please. So anyone can share to the difference between the normal AI and the generative AI? Okay. So let's, in case of normal AI, yeah, a system where the suppose normal AI is there, to which can be predict, classify, or cluster. But in case of generative AI, a system which generate the content. It may be text, it may be image, it may be speech, right? So generally, there are two types of generative AI model is there. As we know that LLM is there, large language model, and the image are based is there. Now let's go to the other things. There are some issues with the CNN, RNN, and LSTMs. What are that part? So as we know that convolutional neural networks, CNN, are good at the local feature extraction and the struggle to understand long-range dependency in data. CNN do not have a mechanism to understand the order of elements, making it harder for problem involving the text and the time series. So RNN, especially the LSTM, can handle a long-range dependency due to their ability to process the data sequentially. But as the sequence get longer, they struggle from the vanishing gradient problem. So that means CNN, RLN, LSTMs are suitable for some specific data type. That is the problem. That's why we have to go to the generative AI, which are not that the CNN, RNN are not efficient for handling the multi-model inputs. That is the one of the issues there. Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now come to the generative AI, that as we know that generative pre-trained transformer GPT, that motivation. So what is this? A new architecture is called the transformer. It's proposed by a scientist from Google, which avoids the recurrent connection altogether by relying on an operation known as attention. This architecture also take care by sequential nature of inputs by using the positional embedding. So let's go to the little bit details of that. Now, what is that variational autoencoder? What is that? That variational autoencoder model. This encode the input data into a latent space and decode it back, consisting of an encoder and a decoder. Similarly, this variational autoencoder uses a probabilistic. So, what is the insight that what the technique they are using? That they are using that probabilistic approach and outputting the parameter of a distribution to generate the new data. The latent space is continuous and regularized, ensuring the similar data points are close together and allowing the smooth interpolation. And also this combine the reconstruction loss like accuracy of the output and the scale divergence loss, that is the regularization to a prior distribution, to ensure the meaningful data generation. And it also uses for generating image like music, text, anomaly detection, and the presentation learning, that is for the clustering and as well as the classification also. That is the variational autoencoder. So now another thing there, that is called the generative adversarial network. So what is that? That consists the two neural network, like a one generator and another is the discriminator, which complete against each other. The generator creates the fake data while the discriminator evaluates whether the data is real or fake. Because as you know that some cases these generative AI we are using to making the some fake data or the fake image also, and some cases we are also verifying whether it is genuine or not. AI can be used there. So generator improved by trying to fool the discriminator, and the discriminator improved by better detecting the fake data. Use of image synthesis, the video generation, data augmentation, and creating the realistic simulation. And these also have revolutionized the field of generative model by producing highly realistic and high quality data output. Now come to the transformer. What is the use of that transformer, which is the generative AI? The transformer use self-attention mechanism to process the input data in parallel, unlike the sequential model like RNN. See, what is the problem of RNN? As we discussed that, it was sequential model. It cannot handle all multi-model, multi-data or multi-model data together. So that is the problem. But in case of transformer, which is used in a generative AI, it can be used as self-attention mechanism to process the input data in parallel. This self-attention mechanism allows the model to weight the importance of different part of the input data dynamically. That is one of the advantage of the generative AI. Transformer handle large data set and long range dependency, effectively making them highly scalable. What is the meaning of that highly scalable? So that means when our data or the range of data dependency as well as the number of data is increasing, it can be accommodated. That is the advantage for this transformer, can handle large data set as well as the long range dependency efficiently, making them highly scalable. Widely used in natural language processing tasks such as translation and text generation as well as the sentiment analysis, that can be used, this transformer can be used. And notable this transformer models include this BERT, ChatGPT as well as the T5, which have a set of new benchmark in a various AI tasks that we can be used. This is the idea of the transformer. Again, I repeat the main point, the transformer, that is the highly self-attention mechanism to process the input data parallel. This is one of the most important things. Second important thing is that it can be handled a large data set. This is one of the another important things. There is a highly application in a natural language processing. Now, next. Large language model, that is LLM. This is, as we know that This is one of the important AI model in case of generative AI. This LLM are the AI model trained on the vast amount of text data to understand and generate the human-like language. This is one of the most important things that LLM are, it can generate the language or the text as like human. So that's why sometimes at the time of when we need to do some writing, that we can take the help of the generative AI like a chat GPT. So where we can get the same language as like human like can be generated. They contain the billion of parameters, allowing them to capture the complex linguistic pattern and the knowledges. This large language model can perform a wide range of language tasks, including translation, summarization, question answering, as well as the text generation. So what are the main thing we are getting from the LLM? We are getting to the various language tasks. Like a translation. Translation means like a one language from the another language. Summarization. Suppose we can give some a paragraph, we can get some summarized form. Question answering, suppose we can give the question, we can get the answer, as well as the text generation. Text generation means that suppose we can give a one line, it can give a elaborately description about that topic. Typically pre-train on the device data set and then fine tune on the specific application to input the performance. Prominent element includes the Open AI, this GPT series, chat GPT series, Google's BERT model, as well as the Facebook, as we know that robot model. This is the about the LLM. Let's go to the now next is the advantage. What the advantage we can be get from here? See, the advantage of the generative AI, the first advantage is the enhance the creative processes. I have already mentioned that when we are using the normal AI in a system, what we can get, what the system can give, that system will give, the system can be used for, or it can be used system to predict, classify, or the cluster. But where we are using generative AI, the system can generate the content. So automatic content generation. This is the first advantage for using the generative AI. Generative AI can create the art, music, and literature, providing the artist with the new tools to augment their creative processes. Second is the advantage is the creative assistant. So this AI can give some suggest idea, themes, and the variation that helping creator to brainstorm and refine their works more efficiently. This is the second advantage. Third advantage, the rapid prototyping. What is that? Like a designer can quickly generate some multiple design option like this, that. Out of this multiple design, like which is called some prototype form, anyone can do. We can choose and we can go for some extensive way we can be design that part. So that is called the rapid prototyping. This design can be quickly generate the multiple design option that we can get some idea and visualize concept without extensive manual effort. So again, I have repeated that advantage of generative AI. Three main advantages are there. One is the automatic content generation. This is the first advantage. Creative assistant, we can get the creative assistant. Rapid prototyping is another advantage. Rapid prototyping. What is other advantage? Let's see the new possibility of the other advantage. Other advantage is like art and design, that AI generate some art, open up some new style and technique, allowing some artistic way to explore some that material, that topic. Next is the entertainment, like gaming and movie. AI can create some realistic character environment. As we know that there are some so many movies is already come in the picture in the market that where we are using the generative AI. So that is the realistic character, environment, that storylines, enhancing the user experience and reducing the production time as well as the cost. That is the entertainment purpose. Advertising and the marketing, as we know that AI can generate the personalize the content and this like a campaigning. This what are the things we are there like advantage. That's why this generative AI is the most suitable, as we know that it can be helped. It can be helped to like a image creation for manufacturing and as well as the sales company. Those who are there, they can create some their product image and they can be advertised. They can advertise in a better way. Healthcare, another advantage is the healthcare. So generative AI can assist in drug discovery by predicting the molecular structure. By predicting the molecular structure, and generating the potential that drug candidate and accelerating the development process. That is one thing is there. Education is there. Like AI can generated the educational content, as we know that it can also help for the research and other assistant purpose content, and the personalized the learning experience can adapt to individual learning style as well as the need also for improving educational outcome. Like some student or maybe in some educational material, we have to prepare some material, some other purpose it also can. So like what are the other application of the generative AI? Like art and design, entertainment, advertising and marketing, healthcare, and the education. So what till now what we have discussed? We have discussed the basic scenario of our artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, their definition, example, and as well as the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and the reinforcement learning. Now, what is the scenario of the generative AI, or what are the background? Do we have to take the help of the generative AI? What is the basic concept of the generative AI? What are the models we are using in the generative AI? And what are the application? What are the application is there in the generative AI? Now come to the security issues of the generative AI. Now security issues, see, as we know that whenever we are using the AI in our real life application, so there is some loophole are there, loophole of our security issues. So that is there. So similarly, when we are using generative AI, so there is also their security issues is there. So let's go through what are the different types of security issues in case of generative AI. Security issues is the generative AI technology. You see that uniquely there are some security challenges is there due to their ability to generate highly realistic but fake data. This is most important word. Generative AI is generating highly realistic but fake data. So what is the importance? Importance is that to understanding this issue is crucial for mitigating the potential risks and ensuring the safe development. So that is the one of the issues is the security issues of the generative AI, as this generative AI is generating the highly realistic but fake data. So we have to be take care for that. Deep fake and the manifestation. So misinformation. So then deep fake and the misinformation, let's see that deep fake are AI generated media that manipulate the visual or audio to depict the event that never occurred. So that is the one of the very crucial. You may see some picture that generative AI can be create some picture or maybe something which never occur also, right? So that is the idea of the deep fakes are AI generated media that manipulated the visual or the audio to depict the event that never occurred. Now, what will be the impact? They can be used to spread misinformation, manipulate to the public opinion, and as well as the damage reputation. So this is the very crucial for the reputed industry and as well as the other thing. Example, instances of the deep fake affecting some election and as the public figure highlight their potential danger. So this is one of the security challenges, deep fakes and the misinformation. Next is the identity threat and the fraud. So as we know that generative AI can create synthetic identities or forged document with convincing detail. So that means it can be create some forgery that identity, some document, that forged document that can be generative AI can be. So what are the fraudulent activity? It can lead to identity threat, financial fraud, unauthorized access to secure system. Like by using the generative AI, it is very easy to create some fake Aadhaar card. It is very easy to create some fake Aadhaar card. By using fake Aadhaar card, we may aware that sometimes it may happen that someone from the other state, they are using to the my Aadhaar card. For example, it may be loan purpose, it may be some other financial transaction purpose, but ultimate that all our document are created by the generative AI and all document are the fake document. That's why it is very crucial that, and it can also lead to the identity threat and also the financial fraud, unauthorized access to secure system. What are the detection challenges here? The detection challenges are there. Third, may struggle to differentiate between the genuine and the synthetic identities, because this generative AI, which can use for creating the forged document, it is very difficult to differentiate genuine document and this synthetic identities or this forged document. It is very difficult. That is one of the issue. Privacy concern. Let's see, the privacy concern is there. AI models that train on personal data there is some leak of sensitive information. That is one of the issue is there, because we are giving to the AI model, we are giving train on the personal data. Because if the AI can train with the personal data, then obviously it can help to give some prediction in future. So that's why what happened when it's dealing with some personal data, there is a with the sensitive information, where the sensitive information is there, so it can embed it in a generated out. Privacy risks. What are the privacy risks? Generated content that it can reveal that our confidential details about the individual or the organization. That is the risk is there. So we have to think about some regulatory compliance, that issue with the data protection regulation. We have to follow that data protection regulation. GDPR we have to use arises when handling some sensitive data. So that means if someone are using generative AI or some other particular personal data, so we have to follow to the data protection regulation. We have to follow to the data protection regulation so that it can be as it is intact, or there is a chance of leaking the sensitive information, there will be chance will be less. So this is the one of the issue is their privacy concern, one of the security issue for the generative AI. Now the cyber security and its vulnerability. What is their cyber security? The vulnerability is there. So first, if we think about that, so model exploration, malicious actor can explore some vulnerabilities in AI model to manipulate output or compromise security. You see that someone can be take some picture or some maybe some other activity. So there is a chance of that compromise that security, or chance of attack is there. So what may be that advisory attack? The techniques like the poisoning attack can manipulate the training data to compromise the model integrity. Like that, when when we are giving the training the data, so that time there is an attack which is called the poisoning attack, where the integrity of the model which is using the generative AI, that can be compromised. We have to be take care for that. Now, what is the mitigation strategy? We have to use to the robust testing needed, some secure model of deployment we have to do, continuous monitoring, that essential to mitigate these risks. So this is the one of the security challenges for the generative AI. Impact on the trust and the authenticity. The trust issue, how the generative AI, there is a trust issue is there, because as we know that this it is creating some fake content that undermine the trust in a digital media and the information sources. As we know, nowadays it's very easy to create some fake image, to create some fake content, to create some fake video by using generative AI. So that's why it is very difficult how to trust that this video is the genuine or not, this image is genuine or not. So that is the one of the issue that is called the trust issue. How it is very difficult, because we cannot trust 100% that this image is genuine. Yes, this image is genuine. We cannot trust that part. That's why this generative AI, there is always one issue is there, trust and authenticity issue. Now, what is the authenticity concern? The user may struggle to discern that between the genuine and AI generated content, impacting the decision making. We have to take a decision whether it is the authenticate or not, whether it is genuine or AI generated content. This picture is a genuine or AI generated content. So that we have to be use that technique, some technique. And even we are facing the problem that the general public, we are facing the problem to verify whether the genuine or the AI generated. Now, the social consequence, what are the social consequence for this trust and authenticity? This misinformation spread via AI generated content can lead to the societal distrust and confusion. So people are not trusting in which is coming to the social media, like AI generating content, that people are not trust that part. So that's why it gives to the high impact. This trust and authenticity is given to the high trust for our social media. Legal and ethical implication. That is also important in the nowadays. Legal and ethical implication. What is that legal and ethical implication? See, existing laws may not adequately address issue arising from the use of the generative AI. Now, what is the ethical consideration? As we know that, see, existing law may not adequate to address the issue of the arising from the use of the generative. So we have to go for change that legal challenges, that we have to change the law. Ethical consideration, that balancing innovation with ethical guidelines is crucial to prevent the misuse and protect the societal that values. Regulatory framework, so developing the regulation that govern the ethical issue of AI and mitigate associated the risks in growing concern. So this is the one of the things we have to take care, legal and ethical implication when we are dealing with the generative AI. Now, the bias and the fairness. Bias and fairness, that is one of the another issue when we are dealing with the generative AI. Bias and the that is the bias implication, that AI model may perpetuate that bias is present in the training data. So that means in the generative AI, whatever we are using the training data, that bias may be present. That is one of the important things we have to be take care, because if bias is there, we may not get the actual or the genuine result. That is the one of the important bias and the fairness issues is there. So a model may face the problem bias may be present in the training data, leading to the discriminatory outcomes. Now, fairness challenges. There is a fairness challenges that ensuring the fair and the unbiased AI output across the diverse population and remain a significant challenges. Now we have to take care some algorithmic transparency. Algorithmic transparency, because if we take care about the algorithmic transparency is there is a chance of bias will be less. So that's why lack of transparency in AI decision-making processes can exacerbate that fairness concern. That is the one of the things that can be, we have to be take care about that algorithmic transparency also. So when we are dealing with this generative AI, there is a problem of the bias and fairness issue is there. So that we have to be take care for that. So challenges in detection and the mitigation. So detection method, so developing the effective technique to detect the AI generated content and the malicious uses cases is very challenging. And real-time response, so timely, the identification and the responses to emerging threat require the advanced detection system. So that's why we need to the identification and the response to for the emerging threat require the advanced detection system. Now collaborative effort, we needed to the collaborative effort like a industry collaboration and the interdisciplinary research are very much essential to stay ahead in evolving this type of security threats. This is most important when we are dealing with the generative AI. Now, future direction and the recommendation. What kind of like our in future we can think about research and development, continue the research into the robust AI security measures and techniques. That is one of the research, challenging research is also ongoing. That robust AI security, what are the measures and the technology we can be used. And also the education and the awareness, like prompting the awareness among the users, developers, and the policymakers about the risks and also the responsible user of generative AI. Like a policy and the governance, we have to take care about establishing some comprehensive regulatory framework and also some ethical guidance to safeguard against the misuse and prompt that safe deployment. So that means we have to also think about establish some comprehensive regulatory framework where this type of security and also other problem can be managed by this regulatory body, Like if anyone is using this generative AI, so we have to be follow. These are the regulation is there that we have to be take care, ethical guideline, and to safeguard against the misuse and that from safe deployment, that promote the safe deployment. Now the example of generative AI. So what are the example of generative AI? Achha. So now if we see about that, what are the different security issue we have seen, we have take care. So first we have take care about that there are so many security issues and challenges is there that we have discussed for the generative AI. Now is the what is called the example of the generative. Let's see the example of the generative. So generative AI, like as we know that very much popular example for the generative AI, generative pre-trained transformer, which is called it is very popular as a chat GPT, and as well as we are using that attention. Let's take an example of sentences. Alice, who has black cat, loves going to park. Suppose if we give this thing to using chat GPT, what may be the problem may arise? Let's discuss that part. When the model is processing this word, loves, that attention mechanism allows it to be associated with allies, not the cat. At each word, attention mechanism allows to look at the word at the other position in the input sentence to better encode the word at the current position. This is one of the issues is there in case of generative AI. Another is their generative pre-trained transformer architecture. As we know that transformer is one of the this model we are using in case of generative AI, and if we look into that architecture of the transformer architecture, we can see about, I'm not going to the details of architecture, just an overview. 6 encoder layer there is there stack, 6 decoder layer stack, positional embedding is there, and the marks attention like encoder decoder attention is there. So what are the advantage we can get from this architecture? The advantage is there: better long range connection, easier to parallelize. I have already mentioned to that CNN have a one issue. That main issue is that it cannot work to that parallel way. So we are getting to that advantage, so we can get to the easier to parallelize. Better long range connection is there. It can make the network much deeper, more layered than the RL. By using this architecture, we can go for the more deeper, much deeper. Now question is that why it is deeper needed? Why the other so many layer is needed? See, if we go for the so many layer, if we using that so many layer, then our accuracy will be improved. It will help to the it will help to give the accurate result. That is the one of the advantage for this transformer architecture. Now, a generative pre-trained transformer is a kind of transformer model developed by an open AI for natural language processing tasks. Generative refers to model's ability to generate text, and pre-trained referred to model training process consisting the two stage. Pre-training model is trained on a large corpus of text data, where the objective is to predict next word in a sentence. So again, I am repeat that part. So first thing is that generative refers to a model's ability to generate text, and pre-trained refers to model training process consisting of two stages. Now pre-training, that model is trained on a large corpus of text data. This is one thing, where our objective will be to predict the next word in a sentence. There are some data set we are using, training data and the parameter that we are using in that case. And now if we analyze the parameter, if we see about that, their effectiveness, unreasonable effectiveness, we are getting to the good result. For that, some parameter result is there, it is analysis there. Now come to that generative pre-trained transformer LLM landscape. See, in case of encoder model, what is there? This model map to the input sequence to a vector representation and useful of the extracting features. That is called the BERT model. Now decoder model, what we can get to the decoder model? This model generate an output sequence from a fixed length input vector useful for a generation of text, image, etc. That is called our GPT-3. And if we go for the encoder decoder model together, this model are combination of the both encoder and the decoder. Encoder is responsible for mapping input to vector, and decoder is generate the output sequence from the vector. So that's why this is the advantage for the encoder. Again, I am repeating that part. Encoder model is there. This encoder model is mapped into the input sequence to a vector representation. Decoder model, this model generates a output sequence from a fixed length of input. And whereas encoder decoder model, if we see about that, this is a combination of the both encoder and the decoder decoder. Encoder will be responsible for mapping input to the vector, and decoder is responsible for the output from the vector. Okay, so this is the actually the chain of thought prompting. So that actually we are not going in details. Chain to the of the thought prompting is a technique that enables the LLM to complex reasoning, generative a chain of thoughts. A series of intermediate reasoning steps are there. Generative preterm transformer, that if you see about that alignment, RLHF. Now that this we are using the reinforcement learning through human face feedback is a technique that allows the model to learn directly from the human feedback, like a prompting without the need for the label data. That is another advantage for this technique, where no need for the label data. Directly, we can get the result that allow the model to learn directly from the human feedback, like a prompt. Due to the nature of the training data being scrapped from internet, scrapped from the internet, it contain a lot of misinformation, conspiracy theories. The model must be further polished or aligned using the RLHF to make it user appropriate. Now we are at the end of this that application of the generative AI. See, application, I have already mentioned to that there are generative AI actually. Without generative AI, nowadays we cannot survive a single steps. So the main application of the generative AI, it can create the new content wherever and whenever we need to create some new content, we have to use the generative AI. The new content means, what are the meaning of new content? It can include the conversation, stories, image, videos, speeches, music, as well as the text also. And what is that? Real life application, like a research and writing assistant is there, image creation for marketing and sales are there, like some game development, even the game and the movies development by using generative AI. That is the one of the major application of the generative AI. Some pictorial application that I have already mentioned so many application. So just some pictorial view of some application of by which can be used in case of 3D. I think 3D recorder that can be used in even in case of movies purpose also can be used. Okay, Mid Journey that can be also used now. In this topic that we have, I try to cover to the introduction or the basic concept of generative AI, its application, model, and as well as the some security issues. So here we have discussed to the basic concept of the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and as well as the supervised, unsupervised learning and the reinforcement learning. Now come to the what is the meaning of generative AI, what is the basic concept of generative AI that we have discussed, and as well as that what are the which is called that application of the generative AI, difference, what the model or types of the generative AI that we have discussed, and the security issue, because we have to take care of the security issues, which is very important when we are using the generative AI. to measure breakthrough in the deep learning architecture like a transformer and the generative advisory network, availability of the
Excuse me, sir.
massive data set. Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we can't see your screen, sir. Can you please
Okay, I am sharing
screen
again.
share it again?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Oh, right. It is somehow stops here. I'm extremely sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is it okay now? Yeah, I have shared again. I have shared again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So now we are at the end of this discussion that we have discussed to the basic concept of the generative AI and the model. What are the model we are using in the generative AI? Their application areas and as well as the security issues. So as a conclusion, we can say about that measure breakthrough in the deep learning architecture like measure a network, availability of the massive data set like GPU and the TPU compute, new advancement technique like a RLHF prompting made it much easy to align this model. I have already mentioned there are some models out there where no need to get the train data directly from the human feedback. It can be train that model. And I think low barrier to entry due to the some intuitive or the user friendly interface, strong open source ecosystem. Now, generative AI hold the potential to create the photorealistic image, human-like speech, human-like text, and generate the working code from the natural language description, which was not possible until that recently. So, it's a huge application, and as well as the advantage of the generative AI is there. We have to only we have to learn the technique, and as well as we have to use this concept of the generative AI, which is very helpful, for our different various real life application. But we have to be carefully handle as there are security issues. Lot of security issues is there, so that we have to be careful, take care. Some of the security issues I have already discussed, and even the research is also ongoing on the security issues of the generative AI. How we can make that secure environment or the secure system where that system are using that generative AI, so that there is no leakage of personal information. The model will be biasless model. The model which we are using here, that will be biasless. There is also some ethical issues is there, that also we have to be take care when we are using generative AI. So now I thanks to all the participants for listening me. If you have any query, you are requested to share your query or anything. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, seems there are no doubts. Thank you, sir, for your with your knowledge.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. If you have any query in the future, also you may ask the email ID. I have already shared to the. You can take to the not in the Babu Pamela, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm leaving, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Sir, dear faculty members, the following next session will be carried from tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you.
Andhra, sir.
Sir, Phanindra, sir. Any feedback will be given, sir? I am Murali Krishna from Mongol, sir.
Post in the group, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir.